and welcome to our Thriving Tribe, the Zoom Room sessions. I'm David Francis Moore.
I'm Juliet Harvey.
And we are joined today by internationally acclaimed b-boy and hip-hop dancer Tobi Omoteso, artistic director and curator of Top 8 Dance Battle at Dublin Dance Festival. Tobi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me so much. Thank you. It's an
no worries.
honor to be here. For me, in particular, Lee, because I had no dance training, like the formal educational training where you do like a BSc or MSc in performing arts or in a dance program. I never sought that route because number one, it wasn't something that was on my radar anyways to sort, because I believe for you to know what dance is, you have to dance. You can't read that in a book. You just have to use your body. You have to, and I use my body vigorously for over 20 years now, and there come a point where when trying to get into institutes and organization where yes, because I cannot be seen as a I wasn't seen as a professional artist. It was quite challenging. So at that time, I had to now take a step back and actually ask myself that question: am I professional in this art form, or what am I in this art form? Does a paper allow me or tells me that I am professional in this art form, or I have to actually make that decision myself and walk in that faith? Because this question is actually very personal. Like, it's crazy that you touch on this, because it's something that I really struggled with on a personal level, on so many levels. So the time I saw myself as a professional, I really had to go inside of myself. What is my worth? Because every organization, because after a while in street dance, I wanted to take my street dance and my breaking and b-boying to another stage, and for me to do that, I have to do a lot of partnership work with structural organization that only takes certifications, or want to see what you've actually studied in that practice. And for me, coming from a street dance practice where it's not like I would not like to have done that practice. I mean, I'm studying to get the qualification so that I can be a professional, so I can be seen as a professional dancer or in the industry. But I had to now actually, it's funny because I know that I could not get all the let's say written papers, like I have an MSc or BH or whatever, but I know that what I can do is collaborate or be available to actually work with organization, so that it's going to then be my track record, almost like a apprentice, that I may not have the paper to say I am a professional dancer, but by God, I have the experience, and I am, and not only the experience, the creativity and the hunger that no paper can actually no paper can show or can determine, except for myself. So it's something that I had to take that path. That okay, it was very difficult and very challenging. A lot of closed doors, to be honest with you, especially coming from a street dance context where street dance is not seen as a professional art form, anyways. So I had to really prove myself and adapt, really, and then Lord and behold, then I started being seen as a professional dancer, not in a way, not in the conventional type of way, but in my own way, in my own right. I mean, what makes somebody a professional in any art form anyways, what makes anybody a professional in any art form? So I took that upon myself to just stay hungry, stay through, and yeah, and no matter how many closed doors there may be, I just know that in order for me to get to the next level or seen as a professional dancer, I have to have a lot to show that I don't have academic wise. So I have to show I have to show that in another shape or form, and that's my experience that I try put on the table, and yeah, and that's when, well, there's not really a time frame to when I saw myself as being professional. It just happened. It just happened, and me being true to myself, I feel like a professional. I don't need anybody else to confirm that. So I feel like a professional, and my work is professional once it's seen and once it's viewed. So the thing is, um, I came I I came to a realization when I started dancing. And by the way, I started dancing in Carlow. Shout out to Carlow. um, so 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 for me, I started at the well, when I started, there was not a lot of male doing it in Ireland, right? There was not a lot of male that were dancing. Dancing was seen as a stigma. There was a stigma around dancing, and in my background, I was born in Nigeria, raised in Ireland, but my family, my parents pretty much made us know that in our house, we're in Africa, in Nigeria, right? Outside, you can be Irish and you can be whatever, but inside the house, they spoke our dialect and things like that. And one of the important thing in my culture is that a man not only needs to fend for his family, but can also move. A man must know how to dance. So it's a thing. So I grew up with my dad dancing. It wasn't anything to shy away from. In parties we would dance. Men are dancing, women are dancing, children. So everybody is. I grew up in a dance in a dance culture. Um, so when I started dancing, what was important to me was that I make sure that I still keep on that authenticity, whereby my dance now is no longer for no like a spectacle, like, oh look, he can dance. No, it's gone on a deeper level, whereby this is a part of me and this is a part of who I am, and that's very important for me. And also it was almost like a escape mechanism. It worked like an escape mechanism for me as well. um and also because growing up in Carlow, back back at that time, it was a very challenging period, whereby there was a lot of influx of different nationalities coming in, and even the traveling community, and those two communities actually got on, believe it or not. The traveling community and the non-nationals got on, and me dancing, I saw it as a way of getting to touch people that might not necessarily be accepted in the wider community. So I come in contact with, and that's very, very, very important to me, that my dance bring me to close to those people that you would not necessarily see going to theaters or going to going to functions. No, they're just people on horsebacks and on the field, and have loads of time in their hands. And and I wanted them to give them something that, wow, look at what I can do, and I am valid for this. Because for me, that's what I love about the street dance culture, is like, it's inclusive, It's super inclusive. It's for everybody, and that's what kind of attracted me. That nobody is cut off. If you can't do something, it doesn't matter. And because our motto in street dance and hip hop especially is each one teach one. So if you know something, it's on you to pass on that. You don't you don't necessarily really have to get paid or get famous or get known. It's just a code of ethics within that community that if I know something, right, I should pass that on. And those are different values that I could keep going on on this for days. But those are the important values for me, definitely. I think wow, yeah, there's a lot, so I have to kind of hone it down to the important things to me. And for me, is self-expression. And so that, I mean, that is so key to me, because I feel like I've been labeled. I've been labeled all my life, anyways, right? And this is the one time whereby I don't want to be labeled, because I have control over that. So I can literally take it anywhere I want. And for me, the most important things about my practice is to self-express, to self-express and not be in a box. And then for people to know that, and when people see my work or see me move, they can see my vast experiences from different aspects of life that I have been through. So so that's so important, that I can really show that and embody that. That you just because you're from somewhere doesn't mean you cannot time to time lift your head up, because there's a lot out there to be learned. And coming from two different cultures, really, I embody that fully, and for me to be able to express. So to answer the same thing in Yoruba, the Yoruba clan in Nigeria, northern south and northern of north side, no, south south of Nigeria. So Yoruba. So nǹkan tó jẹ́ kí n máa jó ni pé àwọn òbí mi ò like tí máa jó tẹ́lẹ̀. Mo dàgbà ní Carlow, mo dẹ̀ dàgbà ní Nigeria. Ní Nigeria gbogbo èèyàn máa ń jó, but ìgbà tá a wá sí Carlow àwọn èèyàn ò jó. Èmi dẹ̀ fẹ́ jó, mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ express báwo ni èmi fẹ́ jó, mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ express ra mi. Ó dẹ̀ ràn mí lọ́wọ́ láti actually express ra mi through dancing. So gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ máa ń rí, gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́, so because àwọn èèyàn tí wọ́n bá wá síbí báyìí wá rò pé wọ́n lè ṣe nǹkan kan mọ́, nǹkan kan àbí tí wọ́n máa play football. Àwa láti Nigeria, so football la mọ̀ láti play. But now èmi fẹ́ jó, mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ express báwo èmi fẹ́ ṣe jó. And nǹkan kan tí mo fẹ́ jẹ́ kí gbogbo yín mọ̀ ni pé you can be whatever you want to be. O lè jẹ́ anything, so má rò pé nítorí o wá láti Nigeria o ní láti jó. Má rò pé nítorí you were born in Ireland o ní láti ṣe báwo ni gbogbo àwọn èèyàn ṣe ń ṣe. No, ìwọ lè find nǹkan tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe, ṣáà máa express síra ẹ̀ truthfully and authentically. Wow, collaboration is huge. It's been huge. It's been beneficial. It's been key to all that I am doing. Because in order for me to reach and to reach more audiences or more people or people that cannot be reached, it's been through collaboration. I mean, for example, when we done the collaboration with visual arts, we done it with Crononog, and I mean, if we have not collaborated with, and thank you, David, for bringing us on that. If we have not collaborated on that, I mean, very rarely do you see what we do in settings like that or in spaces like that. And even still recently, I done another collaboration work with in Carlow. I can't quite remember the name. It's actually gone on my head now. And it was for kids. It was done in the GAA grounds. Does it come together now? I can't quite remember. It's for community. But there were two kids that came to that because of what we've done with visual in the past. And these kids were shy individuals and they wouldn't feel comfortable. And if not for that collaboration, we would not have, and God knows where that's going to lead those kids, you know. But I feel like without important collaboration as those, my work, because my work is all about people, my work would not would not touch as many people that I want to touch. And because I feel like there's something in this art form that I don't have to cancel you, or I don't have to just because you are just being yourself. Being yourself is enough. It's attractive, you know. Being yourself is enough, and you don't need anything else but being you. So so for me, because I know this, and I want even kids and teenagers and even adults to experience this, even if it's for 1 hour. And those collaborations and the people that put those collaborations together, and for taking the step and faith in having something like this, because obviously, for example, having street dance or DJing hip hop music in a setting like the visual, the gallery, it's unconventional. And for people breaking a status quo and doing something innovative and new, to foster those collaborations. So for me, collaboration is huge, and it's I cannot express enough how important it's been to my work, in touching new people, new lives, inspiring, and even me getting inspired, you know. It's everything really. It's everything really. Wow, collaboration is huge. It's been huge. It's been beneficial. It's been key to all that I am doing. Because in order for me to reach and to reach more audiences or more people or people that cannot be reached, it's been through collaboration. I mean, for example, when we done the collaboration with visual arts, we done it with Crononog, and I mean, if we have not collaborated with, and thank you, David, for bringing us on that. If we have not collaborated on that, I mean, very rarely do you see what we do in settings like that or in spaces like that. And even still recently, I done another collaboration work with in Carlow. I can't quite remember the name. It's actually gone on my head now. And it was for kids. It was done in the GAA grounds. Does it come together now? I can't quite remember. It's for community. But there were two kids that came to that because of what we've done with visual in the past. And these kids were shy individuals and they wouldn't feel comfortable. And if not for that collaboration, we would not have, and God knows where that's going to lead those kids, you know. But I feel like without important collaboration as those, my work, because my work is all about people, my work would not would not touch as many people that I want to touch. And because I feel like there's something in this art form that we don't have to, I don't have to cancel you, or I don't have to just because you are just being yourself, being yourself is enough, is attractive, you know. Being yourself is enough, and you don't need anything else but being you. So so for me, because I know this, and I want even kids and teenagers and even adults to experience this, even if it's for 1 hour. And those collaborations, and the people that put those collaborations together, and for taking the step and faith in having something like this, because it, obviously, for example, having street dance or DJing hip hop music in a setting like the visual, the gallery, it's unconventional. And for people breaking a status quo and doing something innovative and new, to foster those collaborations. So for me, collaboration is huge, and it's I cannot um, express enough how important it's been to my work, in touching new people, new lives, inspiring, and even me getting inspired. You know, it's everything really. It's everything really. All of them, or maybe because I can't remember the first two you said. But no, honestly, all of them I was like, yes, oh yes, that's needed, yes. And yeah, I could not see myself actually as an artist not looking at myself through those lenses. I can't see any other way. So for example, now exactly, because there hasn't been anything for my kind of art written down only of recent. So street dance and hip hop as a culture itself is only here for best part of 57 years. So it's still very new. It's still very new. And the founders of street dance, breaking, and so on and so forth are still very much, most of them are still very much alive. And I try to tap to them, um, um, what literature that is available that they've written, or is there a blueprint that new generation can follow, and things like that. So because the first half of what you said, that I have to do on a personal level, you know, I have to constantly check myself through those lenses. But then there's a few whereby it's no longer in my hands, and now I have to go sort, especially if I'm thinking of going into organization that are very structured, you know. So I have to come with that approach. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of literature for established dance forms, for ballet, jazz, lyrical, you name it, contemporary. But there's very little for street dance. So for me now, because I have kind of, I feel like now I'm transitioning, and my transition is going into more of an approach whereby it's a more structural, detailed approach, whereby organizations can look at this and say, oh wow, this is pretty impressive. Oh, this is like ballet. Oh, this is like contemporary. This is like, you know. So it's almost starting a work that has not been done before here anyways. And so that kind of stood out to me a great deal, because that's where I feel like I am now, you know, is collecting literature, getting information together, making sure that this art form is protected, it's yeah, and it's respected in a way, you know, it's respected. Because yes, the people, even the pioneers, speaking to them today, most of them cannot read and write at that time. You know, they're only catching up to that because they were from less privileged background. So now they're only catching up to that, and now they're only now having the time now to now put down literature and to have an organized structure. You know, so it's all that work is happening now, and I want to be in the forefront of that. Well, in Ireland anyways, and do my part that I can do for those coming behind me, you know, because I know I had to find and go through a lot, you know, and I will hope to make the journey a little bit less difficult for the next generation coming. So that really stood out to me, that definitely. So because this art form is very, very intense, as you know. Spinning on your hands and hands and heads and holding positions and things like that. It's extremely physical. So we need a space. Okay. To start off with, it's difficult to get a space for any dancer, for any mover. Anyways, you know, it's difficult. And for us and for me in particular, it's even more difficult because the first thing you get slapped on your face is, do you have insurance? And to be honest, I can only afford insurance if I'm teaching a regular class. If I'm teaching a regular class, if I'm getting paid some sort, and I'm not getting paid like that, you know. And I'm not only talking from my perspective, I'm talking from other people's perspective, whereby street dance is what they do, but it's not like they're dancing or in big shows that they can afford insurance, or they're teaching pack classes. No, you know. So the first thing that is slapped in your face is insurance. Now, if we take the approach Belgium dancers and government, and like let's say France and other countries are doing, the responsibility is solely on the dancer. So you cannot come and claim. You understand? Because Ireland has a claiming nature. You know, everything we claim for. You know, we claim for. But in those countries, because that's the last thing on their mind, so they're a bit flexible and can afford to just open public spaces. I mean, in London, just there's a place called Trocadero. I don't know if you heard about it. Yeah, and people used to train there for years and years and years, and it's just arcade down by the train lines, and people used to train there for years. In France, they train in a huge shopping mall. You know, in Belgium, there's a square that they train. Without any fear of insurance or anything like that. But here in Ireland, so many doors and studios and whatever have closed because you don't have insurance. And for them to even get to that stage of having conversation with you, that's another topic. But the insurance thing really is put forward because they actually know you don't have insurance, but they cannot say no to you. So the easiest way of saying no indirectly is by saying, do you have insurance? You understand? And then we say no, and then there you cannot train. So for us, we have now and for myself, I've resort honestly to train on the street. I know that might sound cliche and but honestly, we have our lino, right? Our lino. We have crash mats that we take with us, and we set it up in a bandstand in a park, and we train there. We train there when we can, right? Because obviously not now because of social distancing and things like that. So back then, and then if we're lucky enough, we can do a trade-off like in schools. In some schools, we teach in some schools, and for PE. Well, not me. Some of the guys teach in the school for PE, and then what they do is then the school now give us like 2 or 3 hours during the evening time to open up, and then we won't the guys won't get paid, but that space will be made available for us then to train. But luckily now in Limerick, Dance Limerick now have a scheme in place whereby you pay a wage, and then the space is open up to you for about 40 to 50 hours. So that's what for the whole year. That's what I've been using now, and thank God for that. But now, because of COVID and so on and so forth, I'm not in the studio anymore because it's closed. So now I train in my garden. I have I have a lino, a piece of lino that I have in my garden. I train out there when the weather is nice. The weather is not so good today, but it's been brilliant, you know. So I've been dancing out there with my daughter, and we have a little room. We have a little room that I have as well, that that we train in as well. I'm actually in that room now, and maybe before the end of the class I'll show you. But I mean, the end of the session I'll show. But yeah, that's literally the space. But I'm in this room quite a lot because I need to keep moving. I need to keep creating. Yeah, it's actually like not because I have to. Now it's just a part of me to instinctively, you know, have that time on my own. If it's the 1 hour, I'm in that space on my own, then that hour is gold. So and I cannot complain because there's way more people that are less fortunate. So how dare I complain? Even if at least I have a small space, you know. So make use of it, and maybe make that be the constraint that you make something from. So I use it like, okay, this is what I have. What can I make with what I have, you know? Or what range of movement can I do within this confined space, you know? So again, I'm just using it so I don't see it as something to complain about. I see it actually, okay, let's see what I can use, what I can come up with. So that's just my approach to it. I just kind of flip it on its head, and it's been working so far. It's been working so far. Yeah, that's the spaces I use anyway. So because street dance don't get a lot of funding or anything like that. There's no yeah, just on that level. A lot of dancers, including myself in the past as well, I have sought to the internet. So you have to be very creative. You understand? Because there's a lot of people that that are very creative with that art form. I mean, I'm sorry. They're very creative because that's what they used to eat. That's what feeds them. So they have to get their work out somehow. And the internet and the social media it's huge. So it's, in one sense, it's good because now you are in the driving seat to push your art form out. You understand? You decide. You know, you decide what you want to put out, how you want to put it out, what content to push. You decide. So, and there's no, you're not tied into any contract that, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You are driving that wheel, or you're steering that wheel. The other side of it is that because now I'm actually sorting a different way of marketing, that we don't have to. Is there other ways? Because I know the old school way is like radios and, you know, posters and things like that, and actually face to face. But now it's all really social media, you know, the internet, and it's getting, or it has gotten crowded. You know, it has gotten saturated. There's so much being pushed at people, you know, constantly. I mean, if we take ourselves for example, how many stuff get pushed at you daily, you know? So now already now I am looking at, is there another way doing this in a way that it's not so in your face anymore. It's, you know, just like a different approach to marketing your work and being seen and getting your work out there. So that's number one. And the other thing is that it kind of distracts from the creative process a little bit as well, because I feel like you can get sucked into how you should be marketing or what you should be putting out there for people to appreciate or to see what you're doing, you know, almost like there's a hidden template that, oh, you have to do it like this, you know, otherwise people won't view your work or get you the follow or the clicks or the shares or whatever, so that more people can, more audiences can be reached. So you could fall in that trap of actually now not truly expressing what you have to, only that you're expressing what you think you need to, you know, in order to actually attract the audiences that you hope to get, or to make your words your work seen. So for me now, I have actually gotten to a stage whereby yeah, street dance is the forefront. I mean, top 8 is the forefront of street dance events in Ireland. You know, when it comes to the authentic art form of street dance, it's top 8, and we just want to make sure that we push it in such a way that it's still us. It's still like people know me by name. People know it's Tobi. People know Deborah. Deborah is the producer for Top 8, and they know us. You know that we're not trying to be. We're not following any sort format. We're just still being ourselves, and that seemed to be working, and to be getting more and more attention each year. So, for example, now this year, because of COVID, we cannot go ahead with the festival. So we're running master workshops. And for us to push that, the marketing strategy we had for that, so is actually one that worked now, was that we build an augmented reality, so AR filter, a mask filter with Top 8 logo. With Top 8 logo. And actually, if I can show you, I don't know if can I show you? Do you want to see? Yeah, okay. I have it on my phone. All right. So, and we get people sending it in. Can you see that? Yeah. Awesome, right? Right, and it looks so real, right? So I created that. I created that myself because I'm into coding and all that techie stuff, anyways. But yeah, so I created that. So it was just another approach. So I just thought, how can we do this? Because I noticed, like, yeah, everybody has their phone now. Everybody's looking at their phone. A lot of filters, a lot of this Instagram and things like that. So to tap into that, all we had to do is just approach it differently, and we did that, and I put the time, energy, headaches in creating that, and yeah, and it's working, and people are doing it, and this way they're seeing the classes. When they're using the filter, it takes them to Top 8 page. They see the classes, they see what we're doing, they're getting plugged in, you know. So we're just attracting that way, and we don't have to spend hundreds or thousands or yeah. I mean, I'm a creative individual in every aspect of my life. So I do that. I am so yeah. So that's just my approach. And this year in particular, that we created that, it is working like a charm. It's literally working like a charm. Yeah. In the arts in general, is because there's a lot of as in, like, when you have to write funding applications, right, for the Arts Council to get grants, so on and so forth. I think that puts each individual in the you put your entrepreneurial cap on. You have to. You have no choice. So in my opinion, because I have to do that, it really puts me in that chair of saying, okay, I own this. I own this, and I have to know every single aspect there is to this. If you look at any businesses as well, it's almost like when we're writing our funding application is like writing your business plan. You know, understand? So it's the exact same, and you are going into a detailed level. So you have to put that entrepreneurship hat on, and it builds that, and all of a sudden you're more confident. You're more confident in the art form. You know what route you take in your art form. You know, you just know things that you would not have known. So yeah, that's solid. That's solid. It's for people. Okay, the thing is either age, in the age, or is either feeling. So age or feeling. So my work generally touch on when I'm performing. My work generally touch on the emotional aspect of the human psyche. So that be grief, anger, love, happiness, just all these emotions. So that's what my work generally touch on. So I know then sometimes I have to get into a place whereby it might not be suitable for some audiences, that some audience cannot see my work because it's not age appropriate, or it's not appropriate, or things like that, you know. But at the same time, I want my work to still appeal to them. Then I will adjust that work to suit in that settings. So I have to do there's something called skill test analysis. Okay, STA, all right? Depending on where I'm performing. So I do my homework beforehand. So like I said, I am adaptable. I am adaptable. So I adapt my work to who it's going to be presented for. So in a sense, I could say for all, I just have to just adapt it and make it suitable for the audience that I know beforehand who are going to see my work. And also it's for people also that have a more deeper intuition with their emotions, you know, that want to kind of understand something, you know. So most of the time when you see my work, you either go out there feeling like, oh, or you go like, yeah, it's always like oh, that's, you know, that's raw, you know. There's no like, oh, that's nice. No, it's just like, oh, that's raw. That's raw. Yeah. Okay, so because okay, so I have to take you back as well. So the thing is, I started off not actually, because as an artist, right? I thought, okay, I need to, I cannot do anything else but devote my time to this art form, to dance, street dance, and went to New York. I got the information that I needed from the pioneers of the art form. You know, I was living there. I done a lot of street shows, like you know, street shows. That's where I survived, even when in Ireland, in Dublin, for about 4 or 5 years. I was doing street shows and paying my bills like that, you know. And I had this concept of like I had a lot of time, right? But I feel like my art or my dance or was not improving, even though I'm saying, oh, I have a lot of time. I should be getting better. And then, so that's number one. So number two, I have a MSc in electronics engineering, applied electronics engineering, and so on and so forth. And so I applied. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get a real job, you know, a real job. And then when I got the real job, I figured out that I was spending less and less time on my art, and I was almost feeling the exact same. So now I'm using, so in the first instances, I was complaining that I had too much time and my dance wasn't going anywhere. The second instances is I applied myself in the corporate world, whereby I got my job, 9 to 5, whatever. And by the time I come home in the evening, I was shattered, I was wrecked. So I wasn't applying much time. So I took a step back and I said, I must be doing something wrong here. So it means that even if I have a lot of time, I'm not progressing as an artist. If I don't have enough time, I'm still not progressing as an artist. So what am I doing wrong here? I thought all artists that have a lot of time should be creating, should have like time. And I feel like a lot of procrastination came in, a lot of lack of discipline came in that space where you have a lot of time. There's a lot of self-actualization skills or interpersonal skills that are very needed, in that space, because I know a lot of artists that are kind of blasé about things and go, oh, sure, blah, blah, oh, I'm an artist, this. But also in the corporate world, it's very strict. You need all of that. You need all of that. So I suppose because now I can take from both. Now I can now find the balance with my time, whereby I have to be like the corporate world, whereby it's lenient, there's no room, you have to be here at this time, you have to do this. There's no like, oh, let the inspiration come, it takes a longer, there's, you understand? Yes, of course, sometimes, and obviously sometimes not. So now anyways, I am very regiment. So my time to train or to be in my space every day, 5 days a week, and I take my weekends off. Although on most weekends I'm still doing something dance related, but I'm not moving. But during the days, I have a time, and now my family, my friends, they know that time. They know Tobi is unreachable at this time. I don't attend to my phone, to anything. I'm just in my space for that 1 hour and a half. And I manage my time like that. And when it comes to doing some dance stuff, because yes, because like the previous question, because we feel we're using the entrepreneurship approach. We think we have to be available 24/7 because we're doing this by ourselves. So I had to be strict to myself that no, I'm going to have a time whereby I attend to dance and to my art. I will have a time where I attend to my work. I will have a time. So everything now is in blocks. You understand? I will have a time where I do nothing. There's time for that. Where I do absolutely nothing. I pig out. Netflix, literally, or play my game, Call of Duty, like I do nothing, and I feel, because when I have this approach, it put me in a mind state. It literally put my mind where it needs to be. When I know I have to train or be in my space, move, my mind is ready for that. It's ready for that. Now I don't say, sometimes obviously, give or take, I might not, depending, but in general, I really, and because I have a daughter as well, so, and I want to spend time with her, and my partner, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. So unfortunately, my time now must be so regimental. And I DJ as well. I DJ as well. So and a lot of people say, Tobi, how do you do all of this? And I'm like, oh, I never thought of it. You just manage. If you manage your time, you can have more. And that's what I felt, because when I had a lot of time, I felt like I still had no time. It's crazy. And looking at other artists, how they see that, and when I have conversation with them, they tell me the same, like, oh yeah, I have no time, you know. But I'm like, what do you do again? Oh, I do this. And is that all you do? Yes. And you have no time. And for me, I could see myself being like that. I was like that, you know. And then when you go to the corporate world and I meet artists that are juggling the art form with and unfortunately having to work, I see that, I see those artists as well, and they complain that they have no time, or they voice that they have no time, and I see myself like that. And the the fundamental aspect is that I just had to take ownership on how I manage that, and be really strict with those time. Otherwise, what happened is that we start shifting. And I think because I have a daughter now, I have a daughter now. I have to, because now, you know, my daughter has a regime. She wakes up at this time. Well, before COVID, she wakes up. We have to get her dressed. We have to give her breakfast. We have to drop her to school. We have to collect her. She has swimming practice. She has dance practice. She has gymnastics practice. You know, so and so on. You understand? So it's so much. So that have actually kind of helped, in a way that, oh, okay, yeah, time to scheduling my time is actually key, and that way I actually feel like I get a whole lot more done. Even so now, even when I procrastinate, because I even have time for my chill time. When I'm chilling, I don't have work or anything else in my head. I don't feel guilty for doing that. You know, I can really enjoy that and be in that, you know, because I know when it comes to work, I work. I work for those time, you know. And yeah, so that's how I manage my time, I suppose. So when I finished my MSc in applied electronics engineering, um, yeah, although I have this degree that looks amazing and it was crazy difficult and all that craziness, and but I was finding it, actually I was blessed that I could go into a workforce straight away even before I finished, you know. But even when I got to my workforce, I felt like I was still lacking so many aspects of what this is, you know. Um, so now I've not only spent 5 years of my life, now I have to spend another 5 years building up the experiences, you know. So there's a big gap. There's a big gap, and it seemed like the outside world value experience more than the qualification, and institutes, to be honest with you, are not doing enough to bridge that. So even after finishing, I've done so many follow-on additional courses that would almost make me even more ready. And the one that stood beneficial to me was the apprenticeship route. You understand? So and if somebody if I know what I know now, and if anybody is asking me for an advice, what route to take, should I go and learn, stay in a building for 5 years or for 4 years, yeah, do a 9 months work experience, and think that's going to get you ready for out there? I would tell them no. If they can find an apprenticeship program whereby you are learning and working on the job, like you, there's actually room for both. And knowing that, for me, that's the best approach for institute or for anybody really, that for me myself, because again, I've done both. I've gone down several routes, and the route that is mostly valued is the apprenticeship route, whereby somebody is learning on the job. You're learning on the job, which means you are also getting the information firsthand, and you are also applying it, whereby you are building up experience as well. So you're doing both. You're not just spending 5 years in college, we're just getting the theoretical aspect, and then you have to work very hard to get somewhere that will take you fresh, you know, without having that experience. But the apprenticeship route, you're having the experience straight away because you're applying what you've been taught, and you're doing both. So it's gonna be those. It's gonna be the two. It's the apprenticeship route. Concept of entrepreneurship. Yes, it's useful. Yes, of course, 100%. Because it lets artists that wouldn't put that head on, because at the end of the day, you kind of have to sell your art. Sorry to say, you know, I know that's not the word to use, but that's what we have to do. We have to sell our art, you know. And it might not be for monetary returns. It might be for other type of returns, you know. But we have to sell it anyways. So putting artists in that, making artists put on that entrepreneurship hat, I think is hugely beneficial. Now, yes, it can take away from the art. Yes, it can take, and it can dilute the art, you know, in some shape or form. But in general, I think it's a positive thing, and it's something that is needed in that space. Yes. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense of the encouragement, the feedback, the bookings, the words that are being shared, in that regards, you know, that's why I would say yes. In the sense of they are with me they're with me on that journey, you know. But then I'll say no in the sense of yes, they're with you, but we want you to do it like this. Okay, can you do it like this, or can you they almost want to impose what they think I should be doing, or what they think art should be. And then there's a little threat of, if you don't do it this way, well, then we would not support, you know. You understand? So it's a 50-50 space, that yes, in a sense they allow me, and at the same time no, because you want me to not do what I do it to please you. Then it's no longer me expressing, you know. And I think that's a very the balance really have to be right in that. It really have to be that. And sometimes it's hard, because at the end of the day, we are putting our art outside to society, and they're the one consuming our art, you know. So we kind of have to kind of take on board that a lot of the positivity and negativity at the same time. I've just kind of come to a place whereby I've just said, you know what, I just want to express. So if you like what I'm doing, cool. If you don't, cool. I just want to express anyways. But but not in a passive aggressive way. It's just to say that, you know what, I thank you. I thank you for consuming my art, but I will make sure that the first thing I do is to make sure I stay true to myself, you know, first and foremost. Otherwise, then I wouldn't know if all society is saying, oh, this is what is making noise now, I will rush there, and they'll say, oh, is this, I will rush there again. You understand? So I will almost, so then I would not know myself. So I have to find a root base for myself. And if society is on board with that, cool. And if they're not, that's okay as well. You know, that's okay.
So this has been the Zoom Room session with Tobi Omoteso. Tobi, if people want more information on your work, what gives your handles?
Oh, so first of all, thank both of you for having me here. So if you want more information on my work, it's just Tobi Omoteso on Instagram, on Facebook, all social media platform as well. It's just Tobi Omoteso, and you can follow me there.
do a Google search.
Exactly.
Tobi,
There you go.
it has been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so
much
much
for joining us on the Zoom
Thank-
rooms.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye.